waste my life. I don't wanna waste my life living in this world. It's just some things, there's no going back. You know what I'm saying?
jwoodbeats.com.
Yeah. I'm not the one with the issues. I hear you. Now here is your tissue. If I'm moving too fast, I might have to dismiss you. And it's really too bad, cause I really will miss you. But I'm not the one with the issues. I left him at church when I made it official. I murdered the curse with my own benediction. Left God in the dirt, call it death of the fiction. Superstition will be served an eviction. Competition will be left in the ditch. Oh my God, it's too damn hot in this kitchen. The fishes of men are now swimming with fishes. Oops, my bad, I guess I'm moving too vicious. Verses sold, I gotta put them on your wish list. Bless my soul, cause I'm dodging your little hit list. I guess you know, you just lost another witness. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go right now. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go, I'm out of here. I can do anything, fuck your opinions and energy. I finally got the epitome. My biggest hindrance was God can't do nothing but fail. Greater is me, I never needed your deity. All of this human capacity, when it gets rough, I can pick myself up and prevail. Cause I don't need anything other than people who fuck with me. Good business, it starts with good company. That's why your boy is obsessed with community. Cause greater is we can create opportunity. Doing what God never did, cause a God never could, but a people is all we need. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go, yeah. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go right now. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta
What's
let me go,
up, heathens? How are y'all doing? How are y'all living out there? It's so glad to see y'all in the chat, man. This is beautiful on this Thursday night to see so many of you already tuned in. Wow, of course, normally we do these on Wednesdays, but I was traveling this week, so I was in LA up until last night, and so I wasn't able to do it yesterday. But we are here, and it's glad to have y'all in here. What's good? I came home to a wonderful surprise, man. My setup is a little different now. My wife had gotten me a new desk, and it's one of those desks that goes up and down. So that's really cool. Like I've been wanting that for a very long time, and I came back and it was fully set up and everything. So this is beautiful. Her and the kids actually did it while I was out. And so that was a real pleasant surprise to come home to. And my office is in the garage, so I have these chalkboards over the windows in the garage to keep the light out. And I only had 3 chalkboards, and so just one of the windows I had it was like a doggy blanket. I think it was one of Aston's blankets that we had over the window. And they got me another chalkboard up there. And then they wrote nice little positive messages on each of the chalkboards, which is incredibly special for me. So I love it. It's stuff like that is always amazing to me, makes me feel really well. So I'm excited about that. I'm grinning like a Cheshire cat because it's the visual is lovely. Just seeing the work that they put into it. You never really know how people value you, even when it's your family. And so you come home and your wife and kids have done something like that. That's really dope. So I love my new desk. It has LED lighting on it. And again, I would demonstrate the rise part, but if I stand up, you're not going to see me because my camera is not on this desk. But we'll get there. Oh man, held up by a shower pole. See that? Hey, Muttley, we make do, right? We make do. I consider that a sign of intelligence. Actually, that was one of my specialties when I was a pastor, learning how to do more with less. You know what I'm saying? And it's definitely something that is that is stuck with me. So listen, everybody, welcome into Bible study with an ex-pastor. where we kind of learn the Bible and laugh at the bullshit together. We have a good time in these shows, and I'm so glad to have so many of you hanging out with us. We're in the book of Leviticus, which I've been very clear about. I do not like this book. This was never a favorite book of mine. I don't even think I've ever preached from the book of Leviticus. Not one time. We'll see as we're reading through it if any of it jogs my memory. But I always kind of warn people, like, listen, if you're in this Bible study to get closer to the Lord, this ain't the one for you. You want to go find one of them Joel Osteen Bible studies or something like that. Get you a, what's her name, Joyce Myers? Go ahead and find you a Joyce Myers, somebody like that. This Bible study are for people who've already detached from this book as a source of truth, and people who are more interested in either the sociological development of the book, the impact that these stories have on real people, and then even the real context that these stories evolved in. So we do a little bit of everything in these shows, and we're going to continue to do this. One thing, and I'll jump into some announcements in a few, but one of the things that I'm really big about is getting more people involved with our, especially people within our community and people who are just affiliated with our community, really involved in these Bible study with the ex-pastors, because I think so many people have insight that can create really valuable conversation for other people. So as you notice throughout the whole book of Exodus, it was me and Jason from Dragons and Genesis. And how incredible was that? And so what I'd love to see, especially as we're building people within our community, I'd love to see more people within our community hosting some of these on Wednesday nights with us, either partnering either on with me or hosting some of them standalone. That's what I want to see. And I want our Sunday sessions to get like that as well. So you're going to see me pushing in that area, seeing what we can make happen. I might get Kyle from ex-Pastor Call-In Show to jump in on some Bible studies with me a few times. And see how that goes. All right. So I do also want to hit this because I'm trying to make it an intentional habit. Let us know where you're watching from. You know what I'm saying? Let us know where you're watching from: city, state, province, territory, however else you say it. As you can see here, we've been very intentional about keeping our map together here. This is the map of what we got going on in the U.S. and in Canada. So as you can see, California, we're building a strong support system in California. And so I'm really looking forward to that building out more and more so we can start connecting some of these dots. But also over here in the East, like, let me get my mouse back. Where's my mouse? I'm on the wrong page. Yeah. Also in the East, you can see up and down. I'll zoom in a little bit because, you know, the states are smaller on this side. But North Carolina is building a nice little hub there. Virginia's getting it an interesting little hub on the east side, far east. I don't know what's going on in this area. I guess they really don't like us in this area. But it's beautiful. So you let us know where you're watching from, and we add it to our map while we're out here trying to build community. And when we see these things kind of build up, the more they build, the more dots we see in an area, the more we can start intentionally helping people make connection, intentionally helping people build community. And as you can see, we're not just focused on the U.S. and we're not just reaching the U.S., but, you know, everywhere people are, that's where we're trying to be, because that's really the goal. I'm a firm believer that community is a solution to many of the ills that we face today, that we're dealing with today. UK, Northern Europe, Norway, Finland. Like, so as you can see here, our little community experiment has been growing. And I'm excited to see how it continues to grow. And much of that, you know, is because of your support. It's because of your commitment. It's because of the way you show up in these lives, because of the way you engage. And so, you know, I have to let you know, like, I sincerely appreciate you. Sometimes in the most recent Sunday sessions conversation we were having about the work, we've been talking about how it's the little things, you know, to use church lingo a little bit, big doors swing on small hinges. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes you don't think that what you're doing is significant. You know, you just see me out here on the screen and you say, oh, he's doing all this work. But man, what I'm doing would have absolutely no value if you weren't liking it, if you weren't subscribing to it, if you weren't watching it, if you weren't engaging during these lives. It's because of you that we're able to make this type of impact. It's because of you that we're able to, like, and mind you, this is just year one. This isn't year 8. This isn't year 20. This is fucking year one for us. And in year one, we are global. That's why we call ourselves BridgeCity Global. Because in year one, we are global. Sacramento. Oh, I'm adding that to the map. Adding that to the map. If we have any hosts in the chat tonight, please make sure we get these starred when people are dropping their state. So I make sure I get those added to the map. And eventually we're going to have to assign somebody to adding stuff to the map, because I realize, like, I have a lot of stuff on my plate that I have to start offloading, you know, and I also have to find a way to make it easier to offload this stuff. Man, yes, I got to put this on the screen a little bit just so I can read it. Carrie said, aren't we lucky to have the ability to have a conversation with undetermined numbers of people everywhere in the world? It's absolutely amazing. It's exciting. Like, it's, this is, you know, y'all know I do content during the week, and some of the things that I talk about, St. Louis, yes, that definitely might be a new spot on the map. But a lot of things I talk about is what the secular community can do to make tangible change. And you know, a lot of times we want to jump to these super duper big things, and I'm like, we got to do some waxing on and some waxing off to empower ourselves to do those big things, you know. But if we start with the small things and learn how to appreciate the small things, and by appreciate, I mean two things: value small things and add value. That's what appreciate means. Appreciate means to value and to add value. So, you know, I want you to all know how much I appreciate you. We would not have this reach without you. You are the reach. You're not only the reason for the reach, you are the reach. Like, that's freaking awesome, man. We're everywhere. We're in Texas. We're in Arkansas. We're in St. Louis. You know, when we first started this, there was just one dot, and that was Dothan, Alabama, where we live, or Midland City, Alabama. And now there's more dots in Alabama, and that blew our minds. You know, Pinson, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Huntsville. You know, so it's happening. That's right. Y'all are the reach, man. This is amazing, and it starts here. Like, this is year damn one. It just starts here. It starts here. This is year one, and we're already global. But the more we stay intentional about connecting, about building, about staying locked in, like, what's the purpose? The purpose is to be a better way to connect. And that's not an easy thing to do, right? That means being intentional. And a lot of our Sunday conversations, and we're going to get in Bible study in a minute, but in a lot of our Sunday conversations, we talk about this shit. That you could, a part of being a better way to connect is breaking the assumption that you know what other people need. And so it requires real intention of paying attention to other people, asking questions, and actually trying to be considerate, right? So man, it's exciting. It's exciting. Like, I don't know, can y'all tell I'm excited? Muttley says it looks like there's a lot of new faces tonight. Good to see. Yes, indeed. Maybe Thursdays need to be our new night. Y'all holler at me. I forgot to put a poll in the chat. And that's another thing. As we're building our teams, that'll be one of the responsibilities of our host teams, to add our polls to the chat. But see, those are the small things that we're doing that are leading to us making such a significant difference. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. All right, so if you haven't already, y'all, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, you know, so you can get notified. Consider joining, supporting, or connecting with this community channel or content in any way that makes sense for you. And of course, share this video. Like right now, just go ahead and share it with anybody. You can share it with a friend or share it with a foe. Share it with somebody you know or somebody you don't, but share it. And then last but not least, of course, check out our merch and our books. We have a whole bunch of that stuff. Check it out. It's all good. I promise you, I wouldn't lie to you. We have some of the dopest merch in the game, and we have some really awesome books. All right. So we've been in the book of Leviticus. I've told y'all I don't like this book, but I've committed for this secular Bible study, for Bible study with an ex-pastor, that we're going through every book of the Bible, chapter by chapter, and we're reading through them, even the books that I don't like. And honestly, like Genesis is a fun book to read through. You know, there are a lot of stories, there's a lot of narrative, there's a lot of shit to poke fun at. Exodus, for the most part, is a fun book to read through, except for when you get to the chapters where the book was supposed to be over, and then they just start repeating shit over and over again. But either way, still fun. Leviticus, we've gotten through 4 chapters, and none of these chapters have been fun. But I have found a way to make them valuable and take some pretty interesting rabbit trails in these motherfuckers. And so tonight, we will be proceeding to do the same. But actually, I gotta, before I go there, I'm gonna take this back, because there's, someone made a comment on one of my videos this week, and I was just, I think it got the poor fella algorithm response. It maybe, I don't know, but it was somebody who said, "Man, I love your content. However, I wish you wouldn't talk like that. Why do you feel need to talk like that? Why can't you just talk like regular black folk?" Like, let me tell you something. I can't stand shit like that. And so when people like that say, hey, I was gonna subscribe, but I'm not, I'm like, thank you, motherfucker. Because, oh, what the fuck? Like, are you fucking kidding me? So and it's that thing where you just can't please anybody. I've had other people tell me you'd be more credible if you didn't cuss enough, if you didn't cuss as much. And now I got other people telling me that I'm not black enough, that apparently I sound like a white motherfucker when I talk. Oh, okay. Let me know when you meet a Frank that talks like me. All right. Okay. Stop that shit. Let's stop playing these games. All right. But that's just the bullshit that people do. And that type of bullshit is shit that I am incredibly averse to. Like, damn. But that's what we talked about in one of our Sunday conversations, how the human is that so many people give themselves a right to determine what other people should be. And unfortunately, that commenter is not the first person who's made comments like that to me. Like I've been having people tell me I talk like a white boy my whole fucking life. And I'm like, I don't know how to talk like anything other than me. And honestly, I'm offended by the insinuation. Like, what the fuck? Like, do you realize what you're saying? When you say some bullshit like that. That's right. Fuck them. Like, god damn, man. Shit. I don't. I'm black. I don't know. What else can I do? I'm black. This is me. I have to talk a certain way to now demonstrate my blackness. No, I'm sorry. That's just not me. Black comes in all shades. It comes in all representations. It comes in all styles, and I'm here for all of it. I'm here for the twerkers and the readers. However it comes, let it be. Anyway, that was just my right. At least I don't speak like an orange man. There you go. Oh man, yes. I refuse to compromise my integrity, man. Like, damn, these folk be tripping. Okay, so now we can get into Bible study. I had to share that little tidbit. I had to share that little tidbit, man. Oh. All right. So Leviticus chapter 5, this one is called the law of guilt offerings, because we've been dealing with a lot of fucking laws and how they need, and a lot of laws and offerings. And it almost seems like the reason we got all of these laws is just to have these offerings. Now, I don't think I've ever put those two together, but so far, every chapter has been a law and an offering. That's how this shit has worked together so far. Every chapter has been a law and an offering. So it's just like, we need some more money. What do we need to do? We need to create some more laws. Aha. Doesn't it sound like the U.S.? Okay. So, but every single one of these situations, it's like, okay, we're going to have some more laws. And then for every law that you break, you got to give us some money. So we see here that what we get from Leviticus is that these laws are all about economic scamming, ways of scamming people economically. Damn, don't that sound like the church? And again, y'all know, and I know some of y'all get mad when I say it, but people always talk about how, like, I don't see where prosperity preachers are pulling their shit from. That's not biblical. And I'm like, have you read this fucking book? Everybody's scamming each other. Like, remember when, because like I think I snapped on that a few times when we were doing the Genesis, when we were going through the book of Genesis, because the whole book of Genesis, like once you get into the story of the patriarchs, it's about who can get blessed the most. That's the whole purpose of having a God. The whole purpose of having a God in the Old Testament is to have somebody who could abundantly bless you. That's where the prosperity gospel comes from. But then this idea of attaching like infractions, spiritual and infractions to some type of monetary reward or economic reward, rather. This is what we're seeing in the book of Leviticus. We're seeing it here. And of course, that doesn't even originate with the prosperity preachers, because I'm like, the Catholic Church was the original prosperity church. You know what I'm saying? This was the church that you could pay to get your sins forgiven, you know? But no, it's this. And then even I think Jason did a good job of highlighting that even like much of the temple practices were based on really deceptive measures to scam people. So like what I'm saying is, these prosperity preachers, they get it honestly. They get it honestly. And again, of course, who the fuck wants a genie that can't make them rich? Why the fuck, if you're going to have a genie, why would you choose a genie that's going to keep you broke? Like, people say the stupidest things about having a God. No, God wants them to be broke. God doesn't want them to be rich. What kind of God is that? I wouldn't want that fucking God, but I don't want that God anyway. But still, you see the point. Like, if you got a genie, you know what I'm saying? If you had a genie, and that's what a God is, it's your fucking genie in a Bible. You know what I'm saying? I'm a genie in the Bible, baby. Okay, that's gonna be a song. All right, so you got your genie, and you said you start making your wishes, and the genie is like, oh no, I can only make you humble and joyful. You throw that fucking lamp in the ocean. Oh, fuck you. I can do that myself. I can enjoy myself. You know, I've broken many of the laws. Here's my guilt offering. I appreciate you, my brother. That is beautiful. Oh man. Snap for the genie song. Oh man. So there is a connection here. You know, it's clear. I don't like it when people try to act like the Bible doesn't justify foolishness. Like I think I did record a video that was supposed to be for today, but I didn't get it recorded in time to upload. So it'll be tomorrow's video. But I did kind of talk about this in that video. Like, I don't like it when people, especially when people in the secular community, do this shit. But like, I hate when people try to like make Jesus more virtuous than he was. You know, and what I said was like, I wish people would stop doing that for the same reasons that most Christians who deconvert and start producing content, the reason why we don't do content on Islam, or we don't do content on Judaism, or we don't do content on even Catholicism for the most part, if we weren't a part of that. We don't do that because, what's the reason we don't do that? We don't do that because we weren't that. We weren't a Muslim, you know, we weren't a Buddhist. So those aren't things we can speak on. And so listen, secular community, if you were one of those people who was never a Christian, please stop speaking on that shit, because like, you're part of the problem. Misinformation is misinformation. Stop sharing memes just because you saw that shit. Stop sharing, oh, the Jesus of the Bible wouldn't approve y'all doing this. Yes, the fuck he would. So listen, if you weren't a student of the Bible, stop doing that shit. You're not helping. You're not helping. You're reinforcing this false identity that the Bible is somehow virtuous. When you say, oh, these scamming preachers, they're not getting this shit from the Bible. Okay, so you're saying the Bible then isn't the damn problem. No, the Bible actually is true. It's the people misusing it. What the fuck? Come on, man. The problem is the Bible is seen as a source of truth, as a source of wisdom, as a source of virtue, you know, and yeah. And And then it becomes, it's only the people who misused it who have made it otherwise. And that's simply not the case. The moment you accept this as a source of truth, it is being misused. See, the moment you say this is true, there's the lie. I spotted the lie already. I've spotted the misuse. Man. Oh my goodness, I love this. He does. He changes all the fucking time. He's a fucking changeling. Jesus, the changeling. Okay, that's gonna be a story. All right, so I've said a lot, and we ain't even got into this yet. And then there's still more that I want to say, because I want to tell y'all about how this week went. And so maybe I'll jump back on that at the end. All right, so since I got Leviticus up, let's read, and I'll try my best not to get too mad, but I ain't making no fucking promises. Now, if a person sins after he hears a public order to testify when he is a witness, whether he has seen or otherwise known, if he does not tell it, then he will bear his punishment. My first thing would be like, how the fuck you know? If I don't tell it, how you know? The only way you're going to know is if I tell it. I'm going to plead the fifth, motherfucker. You don't catch me. Okay, I'm sorry. The fifth, sorry. Or if a person touches any unclean thing, whether a carcass of an unclean animal, or the carcass of an unclean cattle, or a carcass of an unclean swarming thing, though it is hidden from him and he is unclean, then he will be guilty. So if you touch something and you didn't know that you was touching it, so if it's hidden from you, then you're gonna be guilty because you're unclean. Man, can you stop swearing, please? No, the fuck not. Fuck off, motherfucker. Fuck you. No, I don't believe in magical words. All right. So anybody, if you believe in magical words, you can get the fuck on. Get the fuck on. Get the fuck on. Get the fuck on. I also don't believe in magical fingers, so I do this shit too. Oh man. Oh man. So yeah. So you touching some shit, you're guilty. Or if he touches human uncleanness of whatever sort, his uncleanness may be with which he becomes unclean, and it is hidden from him, and then he comes to know it, he will be guilty. All right, so so apparently you're not allowed to just wash your hands and be okay. Oh, I touched it. Damn it, I'm guilty. And there's apparently going to be some shit that has to happen here. So we're going to see what happens. Oh, man. Oh, brother. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this poor fella. Yoink. So there's that. All right. So they can't just wash their hands if they're guilty. You done touch some shit, touches human uncleanness of whatever sort. All right. So then now also if a person swears thoughtlessly with his lips, which I wonder what other way could he swear? What other way could he swear than with his lips? I'm curious here. I am intrigued. My neurospicy is very intrigued. Like, why do we have to specify that he has to, if he swear with his lips? Maybe it's just if he swear, but it's thoughtlessly. Okay, I'm done. Okay. To do evil or to do good, in whatever manner people speak thoughtlessly with an oath, and it is hidden from him, and then he comes to know it, he will be guilty of one of these things. So it shall be, when he becomes guilty of one of these things, that he shall confess that in which he has sinned. Okay. He shall also bring his guilt offering to the Lord for his sin, which he has committed, a female from the flock, a lamb or a goat as a sin offering. So the priest shall make atonement on his behalf for his sin. All right, so we kind of see that, right? Right. I wonder that too, Alyssa. Let me platform that. I wonder how important the word thoughtless is in that sentence. So swearing with intent, all good, right? Yeah, if you do this thoughtlessly, you're guilty. But now if you intended to do it, then that's just good strategy. Which the God of the Old Testament does really seem to be that way. That is so accurate, Carrie. That is so accurate. That's right, because Jesus himself said he didn't come to abolish the law, but to fulfill it. But yeah. All right. So Now, I think there's something interesting that we're gonna see in these next few verses, which is gonna take me back to my little rabbit trail about those prosperity pimps, and how they're getting their shit right from the Bible. Because one of the many arguments and this is honestly, please don't be one of the people that make this argument. This is one of the stupidest arguments that I ever hear make. And when I hear people in the secular community make this argument, I cringe. I cringe down, like from the top of my spine all the way down to my ass, man. It's cringy. Like, please don't do this shit. Like when people say, oh yeah, churches are got people giving money, and that's not even how it was in the Bible. They didn't give money. They gave lambs and goats and stuff because that was the fucking currency of exchange. You stupid motherfucker. Don't use that as an argument. That's stupid. Why would you do that? Don't do that. Don't be that person. And if you're that person and you've ever done that and you didn't know it was stupid, now you do. So don't do it. Don't. That's not a valid argument. That's stupid. That's just like saying, no, they weren't using dollars. They were using yen. What the fuck? Like, no, please don't do that. I think that's the stuff that bothers me a lot about just some of the things that I see. And I'm just like, please don't make bandwagon arguments. If you don't have an understanding of the argument, don't jump on it just because it's popular. It's popularity deserves a fallacious category of its own. Things that are popular, you think it's true just because it's popular. Oh man. Oh yes. Solve it by having more blood on your hands. Like what? Yes. It makes no sense. All right. So, but if he cannot afford a lamb, here it is, then he shall bring to the Lord his guilt offering for that in which he has sinned. 2 turtle doves or 2 young doves, one as a sin offering and the other as a burnt offering. So what do you now hear here? You hear that this is an issue of affordability. So he says, so what you're hearing is what they're asked to bring, because, and I don't know what world you live in where a fucking lamb is cheap. Like lamb chops ain't even cheap, motherfucker. Like I was in an Italian restaurant on Tuesday night, a lovely place. Italian restaurant on Tuesday night. The lamb chops was $42 damn. I damn sure rather tithe than give a pastor a lamb every damn week. And this ain't even every week. You gotta give a lamb every time you thoughtlessly do something. Like what the fuck? I don't want them problems. Oh man. Oh, y'all are too much. Y'all are too much. But you clearly see that this is an economic exchange. So it's like, you messed up, you have to pay me. Bitch better have my money. You know what I'm saying? And so like this is rough. And it goes on and if you can't afford the lamb, then you need to go get 2 turtle doves. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when the debt collector call you, right? And they say, hey man, you owe $586 on this bill. And you like, ooh, I ain't got $586. And then they like, okay, how much can you put on it? This is exactly what the priests are doing here. The priest is like, hey dude, you touched some booty last week and you may have accidentally touched it, but now you know. So you owe me, what do you owe him? You owe me a lamb or a goat. You got to give it to me. That's the only way you're going to get atoned. And if you're like, oh man, like I'm poor. That's what it says. If he cannot afford a lamb, I can't afford a lamb, man. My family ain't doing like that. Hey, bro, well, you have to go get some two turtle doves or some young doves or something. Pimping. And that's what this is. Pimping ain't easy, but apparently these priests had they had this shit down pat. Had this shit down pat. Welcome in. Nice to have you in with us. And so, yeah, so you clearly see here that it's an affordability issue. It's a currency issue. It's an economic issue. So please don't jump on that bandwagon where you make that fallacious argument against the church's tithing system and say, oh, well, the Old Testament, it wasn't about money. Yes, the fuck it was. It was always about money. It was just their form of money. You know what I'm saying? Like what the fuck? No, them priests was eating good, man. They was eating. Oh my goodness. Lamb is expensive as fuck. Yes. You know, he's like, then 2 turtle doves. 2 turtle doves? Like, I gotta go out there and catch. When last time you caught a bird? You know what I'm saying? That shit ain't easy. That shit ain't easy. That shit ain't easy. Pimping is easy. That shit is not. You know? That shit is not. All right. So, and so then he says, so you're gonna bring it to the priest, who shall first offer that which is for the sin offering, and shall pinch off his head at the front of its neck, but he shall not sever it. Okay. And so then he's going to sprinkle some of the blood of the sin offering on the side of the altar, while the rest of the blood shall be drained out at the base of the altar. It's a sin offering. Oh, I got to back up. Because I think we just stumbled on something that I've never thought about. Because again, I told y'all I hated this book. Oh man, a partridge in a pear tree. Oh snap. Oh, oh, that's funny. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I'm catching up on y'all comments. I'm sorry. The credulity tax, right? Yes, that's what it is. Oh man, y'all are too much. So I did just notice something here that I haven't, I don't think I've ever noticed before in this story. So they've come out of Egypt, and God is dealing with them, and they have this really close relationship with the Lord at this time, right? Moses is damn near seeing them face to face. I mean, like, well, in one setting he's seeing him face to face, in another setting he's seeing him ass to mouth. But no, that truly, like the other setting, he's Moses just seeing God's ass. God tells Moses, "You're not good enough for my face," so it becomes an ass to mouth situation. I don't know why they're doing that, but that's what's going on. Apparently, God is into some really kinky shit. As we see, like we've read through this shit. There's a lot of kink in the Bible, and as we, especially once Israel starts maturing a little bit and starts showing a little bit, as the old folks say, start filling out. You start watching how God started talking to Israel. That's when the future. But they're spending a lot of time with God. They have this really close relationship with God now, where he's pretty much telling them what to do every day, giving them all these damn laws and shit, and telling them how to do these offerings. But there's something that I've never noticed. Now, I've read this before, but I've never noticed this. Even when I read it through to highlight the fact that this is economic, you know what I'm saying? That this isn't just futile, just pick something random and bring it to me. This has always been economic, but in the more you kind of understand about ancient cultures, outside of superstition, is that was always the idea, is that you're bringing stuff on behalf of the gods, but it goes into the storehouse for the people. You know what I'm saying? It's only our superstitions that take this idea and say, no, God is eating it somewhere. Like I remember people, when I was a kid, people used to be like, what is God going to do with the money? And I'd be like, you really think the money is for God? Like, that's just odd to me, that people have that type of approach. And I'm like, oh, you need to grow the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? It's like people who believe their houses are haunted and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, that's real cute. That's cute. But no. Okay. So the thing here is that he says, if he cannot afford it, my question is, when did the inequity show up? We have a really good relationship with God. You know what I'm saying? God has delivered us. I thought we all came out equal. How do some people have lamb and other people cannot afford lambs? It's very interesting, right? But that was also like the conundrum that we got to in the book of Exodus, where God delivers the children of Israel from slavery, but then tells them how to treat their slaves. So this idea of God and equity so far doesn't exist in Scripture. We just haven't. God doesn't seem to guarantee equity anywhere. God doesn't seem to be into people being treated equal. God is the type who pits brother against brother, which that's one of the things that we kind of realized when reading through book of Genesis. It's like from day damn one, first is Adam versus Eve. It's her fault. Then it's Cain versus Abel. You know what I'm saying? And then it's one of Cain's descendants doing the same shit, you know? And then it's, you know, Jacob and Esau. And then it's, you know, Isaac and Ishmael. And then Jacob and Esau, you know? And then Joseph and all fucking 12 of his brothers. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just horrible. But then Jesus says the quiet part out loud. He says, I ain't come to bring peace. I came to bring a sword, motherfucker, to divide fathers against sons and mothers against daughters and shit like that. He said, that's what I came to do. I don't know what the fuck y'all thought this was. You know, he makes it clear. Man. Oh, man. Yes. Qualify for cannot afford it. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I can't afford it. And I'm like, damn, bro. So, like, how does that feel? You know? But this is why I was kind of snapping a little bit earlier. Like, I don't like when people try to present the Bible as if something like it exists as some type of virtuous moral framework, especially when it's coming from the secular community, thinking that you're teaching Christians something about their Bible, and you're like, what the fuck? Stop that shit. No, no. God would love everybody. Have you fucking read this book? No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. He's a hateful, spiteful old man. He's an ornery bastard. He is, you know? All right. So that was just something that stood out to me, is that, like, there are people who can't afford this shit. There are people who are on welfare with God. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're part of the tribe, man. And there is no, like, notice the thing was like, you know what? Hey, if you can't afford it, don't worry about it. No, it was like, no, if you can't afford it, you better go find something. Like, this is your God. This is your God, who says, poor people who accidentally sin, you still better have my fucking money. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? Just saying. Man. Oh, man. Yeah, like this is very interesting. Okay, so let's read on here. He's going to sprinkle the blood on the sin offering on the side of the altar, while the rest of the blood shall be drained out at the base of the altar, because it's a sin offering. That's what this is. The second he shall then prepare as a burnt offering according to the ordinance, so that the priest shall make atonement on his behalf for his sin which he has committed, and it will be forgiven him. Does anybody else ever wonder what they're doing with all the blood after this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if the priest have some type of blood kink, like, I mean, like, just why would we want all the blood? Like, I'd be like, you know, just drain the blood before you come. You know, kind of like the grocery store. You know, you can drain the meat before you package it up. You know, I don't need the meat with all the blood, and just you drain it and then you bring it. So I'm wondering, like, why did they need this blood? And this is a moment where I need to pull some of those people who like getting into, you know, the ancient weird customs to tell me what the fuck were they doing with all this blood? Were they secret? Oh, this is going in my story now. Nope. It's mine. I'm going to tell you, but you can't use it. It's mine. It belongs to the fuck. Can I reach? There it is. Oh shit. It's like one of them game things. Memphis Universe. It's going in the Memphis Universe, or actually Memphis Omniverse, but that's where it's going. Okay, so don't you use it. Spoiler alert. The blood is for vampire stuff. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, and I'm gonna leave it there. But yeah, they're using. I'm just curious what they're doing with all the damn blood. I'm a little weirded out by blood myself. Like, I don't like to see blood, you know. And maybe I'm okay with seeing it now, but I don't know. I just remember when I was a kid, blood would make me cry. No blood. And so I've stayed away from it since then. All right. So, but if his means are insufficient, damn, holy shit, this brother gets broker. All right. So what we know is that there are varying levels of poverty with these people under God's watch, which I will say there is a high correlation of faithfulness to God, like sincere God belief, and poverty. There is a correlation. I'm not saying it's a causation. I'd be willing to bet that it is, and I could likely make a strong argument. But for this case, I'm just saying there is a high correlation. But if his means are insufficient for 2 turtle doves or 2 young doves, then for his offering for that which he has sinned, he shall bring the 10th of an ephah of fine flour as a sin offering. He shall not put oil on it or place incense on it, for it is a sin offering. So he said, okay, so now if you can't afford a lamb, which is apparently the standard, everybody has lamb out here. You know, everybody has lamb. You know, if you can't have a lamb, you need to go get some two turtle doves, you know. And if your broke ass can't afford 2 turtle doves, he said, and it gets like condescending here. If his means are insufficient. Oh, I'm not sharing the screen. Why y'all didn't tell me that? So I'm just reading. Yeah, there we go. So y'all can see. But I'm at that's verse 11. But if his means are insufficient, damn near called this motherfucker impotent. He can't get it up. You know what I'm saying? If his means are insufficient for 2 turtle doves or 2 young doves, then for his offering, for which he has sinned, he needs to bring a 10th of an ephah. Let me see what an ephah is real quick. I hate that word. Okay, 1 cubic foot. You know, you need to bring a 10th of 1 cubic foot. Why would we do a 10th of 1? Okay, that's a weird measurement for me. But anyway, a fine flour. Again, not regular flour. These priests have the finest taste. You know, they're already disappointed that they couldn't get the lamb. You know, they probably had the grill all already. And they were like, well, damn, if we can't get the lamb, at least we're going to get some duck. You know what I'm saying? We'll get some turtle doves. You know, it's going to be pleasant, you know, pheasant, you know. But then, well, at least we can get some good flour out of it, which I know that I don't think they make cornbread, but they do something with the flour. We're going to make some pita, you know. Yeah, going to make some E-rolls. That's going to be nice. The lamb and the pita, yeah. So, you know, they're trying to get a meal out of this. See, and there's a lesson in this. Be very careful when people are trying to eat off you. Oh, man, that'll preach right there. Because these priests are literally eating off of these people, man. And so he'll bring it to the priest, and the priest shall take his handful of it as a memorial portion and offer it up in smoke on the altar with the offerings of the Lord by fire. It is a sin offering. So the priest shall make atonement for him concerning his sin offerings, which he has committed from one of these, and it will be forgiven him. Then the rest shall become the priest like the grain offering. There it is. Y'all saw that? So the priest will make atonement and it will be forgiven him. And the rest of the stuff belongs to who? The priest. Mystery solved. That's where it goes. Why is the preacher taking the money? Because the priest does. That's how that shit works, man. That's what it's for. That's what it's for, man. That's what it's for. You know, the storytelling is all nice and putting all this other shit, but it's like, it's the same reason you give people a ticket for jaywalking. You know, you give people a ticket for jaywalking, not because them jaywalking actually caused anything. This is just a convenient thing to get some money from. That's what it is. It's the same reason you require people to get a license to fish. It's a great opportunity to get some money. You know, and I mean, obviously, I'm being oversimplifying this here, but to kind of highlight the point that these things really shouldn't be mysterious to us. And so, like, I do kind of find like we're not being in good faith if we're approaching these things like, why would they do that? You know, if you're doing that, that means the only people I could say would do that and be in good faith is if you actually believe there was a God on the other side of the curtain. You know, but for those of us who don't believe that there is a God on the other side of the curtain, and we understand that this book exists within a cultural context, a place and a time, and it exists and it represents is a fractional representation of somewhat of a reality, then you'd have to look at it through the lenses of reality, you know. And so this system is nothing but a taxation system. When people look at it that way, when people can't see that, I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck you're looking at. This is taxes. They're taxing them. You know, these are license fees. You know, registration fees. This is insurance. This is these are speed. You know, regulations. You know, like, you know, in my state and maybe in most states, you have to have your light on the back of your tag. You got to have a tag light. You know, and if a police officer can't see your tag light, they can tax you for that shit. You know what I'm saying? Which I find it to be stupid, because if you can't see my tag, that means your headlights aren't working. And that's actually a bigger issue. You know what I'm saying? As long as your headlights are working, my tag should always be visible. That's how that shit works. You know, just had to throw that out there. You know, so this is interesting so far. And we've only been in one chapter tonight, but we've already pulled like a lot out of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, we're learning a lot about this God. And I see that we got a super chat. So let's see what we got on the super chat. This is from Damien Youth. Love what you're doing here. I just got to throw a few turtle doves your way. Man, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. Oh, that is absolutely beautiful. Much appreciated. Always appreciated. We got some turtle doves over here, man. I love it. So yeah, this has been interesting so far, because we've learned a lot of things. Number one, there's inequity. Some people are so broke that they got to bring flour. You know what I'm saying? Because they can't get the turtle doves, and they damn sure can't afford lamb. And honestly, I'd be the person having to bring flour. I'd be that person. Like if the priest came to me, Darante, you touched that unclean thing, and I saw you. I know you didn't know you did it, but you're guilty. You're gonna have to give me some lamb. And I'm like, bro, you know, this is a oodles and noodles household. I ain't got no type of lamb. I can probably scruffle up some Hot Pockets and some shit like that, but I ain't got no lamb. And he's like, okay, what about can you get me some turtle doves? And I'm like, I'm gonna be real honest with you, player. I don't even know what the fuck a turtle dove is, so I don't know where to look. Should I be looking in the sky? Should I be looking in the water? Am I looking for turtles or doves? You're gonna have to simplify this shit for me, player. If this don't tell you how broke I am, then I don't know what to tell you. And then he started talking about flour, and he's like, you got to bring me 1/10 of an ephah. Whoa, that is too much fucking math, bro. I told you I was broke. Ain't nobody got time for all that shit. Like, that's where I would be. Like, I identify with the broke. I feel like this part of the chapter was here for people like me, because they know I'm not going to be in the big money line at church. I ain't got to. And if I had a lamb, I'm damn sure not about to give it to you. No, it's my lamb. Because a lot of us do be fake breaking about being broke. Now, this is just a real thing. Let's just talk about it. Let's talk about it for a moment. There are a lot of people like, nah, I'm broke, man. I'm broke. And be having a lamb at the house, you know? But that's why I tell people you got to stop counting other people's pockets anyway. You know what I'm saying? Just because you see me eating crab legs does not mean I got a bunch of money, you know? It just might mean I've said, fuck them bills that day. I deserve these crab legs. You know, we do shit like that sometimes. That happens, right? It happens. Sometimes people say, fuck them bills, man. Fuck them bills. Like that. Oh man. Like I just had a flashback of so many people in my own life who literally said that shit. You know what I'm saying? Nah, the landlord can wait. Come on, kids. We're gonna eat good today. You know, like that's how that shit go. Oh man. All right, so let's see if we can at least finish this chapter. I'm pleasantly surprised that we've been able to pull so much from it, because again, I've never been a fan of the book of Leviticus. Man. Oh my goodness, right, Alyssa? So then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, if a person acts unfaithfully and unintentionally against the Lord's holy things, then he shall bring his guilt offering to the Lord. A ram. Oh, damn. I feel like the price went up. You know, I don't know why, but I feel like a ram is a little bit more expensive than a lamb. You know, I feel like that's harder to catch too. Like shit. But a ram without defect from the flock, according to you, well, they're not having to catch them. I guess they're breeding these motherfuckers, but still, it's a ram. According to your assessment in silver by shekels, in terms of shekel of the sanctuary as a guilt offering. Let me reread that. All right. If a person acts unfaithfully and sins unintentionally against the Lord's holy things, then he shall bring his guilt offering to the Lord, a ram without defect from the flock, according to your assessment in silver by shekels, in terms of the shekel of the sanctuary as a guilt offering. So now I want to use this to just kind of highlight that point I was making earlier, right? A Dodge Ram, right? Oh, man. I want to use this to highlight that point that I was making earlier, which is that this is absolutely financial. And so he's like, this ram needs to be based off of an assessment in silver. You know what I'm saying? So this is how you know that these things have a monetary value, you know. This is the problem. And so, and he shall make restitution for that which he has sinned against the holy thing, and shall add it to a fifth part of it, and give it to the priest. The priest shall then make atonement for him with the ram of the guilt offering, and it will be forgiven him. All right. So this is exactly, you know, this mirrors very much what the Catholic Church used to do, and I can't even think of what it was called back then. I know if Teresa's watching later, she'll definitely put it in the comments. But somebody knows what it is. It's not indulgences, I don't think. But it was the things you could pay the priest for, you know, and you just pay the priest. But that's what's going on here. You pay the priest, you know, you pay the priest. And remember, in one of them, it kind of spells it out, you know, and after the priest does his little magic on it, the rest is for him, you know. So now if a person sins and does any of the things which the Lord has commanded not to be done, though he was unaware, he is still guilty and shall bear his punishment. So it's like, even if you did it in paying for penance. Yeah. Man. For years. Oh, Carrie, you're not the only one. Margin is a motherfucker, right? It's hard to get. It's hard to get. But I do believe, and y'all know this is just me on my I don't even forget what you call the things. Soapbox. Yeah, I'm getting on my soapbox. This is why I'm a firm believer that community is a solution. The more we intentionally build community and get people off the benches and into the game and supporting in whatever ways that they can, in whatever ways that makes sense for them, the more we end up building something that is viable, sustainable, and can eventually become a vehicle or even a catalyst, dare I say it, for real economic change for the members of our community. And that is something that I am absolutely passionate about. It's one thing to have these conversations, which are absolutely great. They're healing, they're therapeutic. But at the end of the day, I am committed to building real infrastructure that allows us to create opportunity to not only just be their best selves, but also do their best works in a way that allows them to have life. That's a part of Bridge City. We are not just progressive thinking and people-centric, but we're also life-affirming, which means we want to build structures that people can actually enjoy the fucking lives they have. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. Off my soapbox. Man. Yes. Oh, y'all are talking good, man. Y'all are talking good. So this says, like, so if a person sins and does any of the things that the Lord has commanded not to do, and if the person was like unaware of these things, they're still guilty and they still have to pay, you know. And this is how much of our legal system is kind of structured like this. And this is something that I find that to be problematic. I find it to be problematic that, you know, law, at least local law, isn't taught in middle and high school. Like, how are you expecting, like, we're supposed to be good citizens and you're never teaching them the laws? And so, like, learning the law in America, in the US, is literally like fuck around and find out. That's how you found out. Like, oh, I didn't know that was illegal. I didn't know that if my light goes out over my tag, or let's say a blinker light, you know, it goes out, or a headlight, you know, maybe it's the highlight or something goes out. I didn't know, you know, that if I'm too broke to afford a replacement of that I'm just going to be riding around one day and a cop can woo 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 wee 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 wee. Okay, sorry. So a cop can just wee 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 and pull me over and say, hey, did you know your light was out? Yeah, I did. I can't afford to get a new one. Well, you're gonna have to find a way to get a new one. And by the way, here's this $150 ticket. That's what this is. That's what this is, or very similar to it. But yeah, so I do find that very disingenuous. It's almost like they don't want you to know what the laws are so they can get those opportunities to be able to tax your ass, Oh man. Hey. So it's interesting, So I wouldn't have, if I would have been at the camp this day when the priest was highlighting this law, my hand would have been up so many times. Excuse me. But if I didn't know, how am I guilty? Oh, they would have been mad at me. They would have stoned my ass that day from the Gospel of Lil Wayne. You already know. What was that? The Carter 3? Oh, that was a classic. God dang. Yo, Mr. Carter. Oh, that was a classic. Damn. Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to listen to that after Bible study. I'm gonna have to listen to that after. See, this is what I love about our Bible studies. Like, we can do shit like this, man. Like, oh man, yo, man. See, that's what I got to platform this. Devoid of funk said, I dare y'all to put your money where your bank is and skip Christmas, or at least celebrate it without your wallet. I'm challenging everybody to go buy my book, Black Nonbeliever Next Door, because that is one of the things that my family did for years. We actually did other things instead of Christmas and giving. This is the first year we're actually doing gifts. It's because the first year we can. It's a beautiful, beautiful time. We've been climbing up the rough side of the mountain. We still got a long way to go, but we've made a lot of leaps and bounds. But it is costly. It is costly, right? In this next series of conversations that we're having on Sundays, starting this Sunday, it's called Human Economics. And so we're actually going to be talking about human economic systems, but from a community-based way. But in that very first conversation, we're going to be talking about the concept of free. And y'all already know about me. I'm a little different when it comes to words. So y'all already know stuff like words like perfection is a word that doesn't mean shit to me. It doesn't exist. It's like, let's just take this word out of the dictionary because that shit is mythological as Yahweh and Zeus. I don't know it. Perfection can only exist where there is a predefined model. In the absence of a predefined model, there could be no perfection. Okay, everything just is. The concept then has no utility whatsoever. It's pointless. But there's another concept like that, and that's the concept of free. It's a word that I hear people use a lot. And I'm like, the problem with free is very similar to the problem of perfection. The prerequisite doesn't exist. The prerequisite for perfection is a predefined model to measure what is by. You need a model for comparison in order to know what is perfect. Perfection will always be relative, but free in a similar manner has a prerequisite. The prerequisite for free is infinite and perpetual. If something is not infinite and perpetual, then the idea of free cannot exist. And that's where we're going to be starting that conversation on Sunday around human economics. And so I hope y'all are ready for that one, because I promise you, we're going to be stepping on a lot of toes. We're all going to be stepping on each other's toes in that conversation. I promise you, it's going to be a lot of ouches and ooh-wees, and maybe a few more maybe a few more of those too. Oh man. This is so good. Oh man. Okay, so I love it. All right, so let's get in here. Let me finish this one out. Where am I at? Gotta find my mouse. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong screen. That's why. All right, so now read that part. All right, so it's a guilt offering. He will certainly be guilty before the Lord. Oh, we were done. Let me see what this next chapter looks like. Because what are we in? We're at okay. All right, we got 30 minutes. I try to. Well, actually, I don't know. So I'm trying to build some structure into our live shows, And so I've been thinking about, that's right, even God wouldn't be perfect. That's right. Like that shit doesn't make any sense. So I've been thinking about for our Sunday shows, trying to bring them into 90 minutes, which I talked about that this past Sunday, and people they didn't seem as excited about that as I thought they would be. I thought people like, yeah, 90 minutes, because 2 hours is way too long. And so it was going to be, we were going to bring our Sunday shows down to like 90 minutes and then bring our Wednesday shows down to like 60 minutes. But now it may be the other way around, where we bring our Sundays, not the other way around, but modulated, if you will. So Sunday shows are at 2 hours and Wednesday shows at 90 minutes. So we may do that. But if y'all talk about it amongst yourselves and chitter chatter about it, and let me, and I'll look at your feedback in the chat, and then we'll roll with it from there. Right. All right. So, but we do have a time to get into another one. Let me catch up on some of these chats. Man, I love the fact that we're having financial conversations in here. This is beautiful. Oh, new grandma. I had to pull that one out. I have no extra cash anyway. I'm a new grandma since August, and Nammy has been getting most of my excess after bills. That's how it goes, too. That's when I realized I should be better budgeting those funds. Absolutely. Oh, man. Y'all are making me excited, because, like, financial stuff, I get passionate about talking about. Number one, and it's not financial. It's not just financial. It's poverty. Like, I'm passionate about people getting out of poverty. I'm passionate about helping people shift their mindsets in ways where poverty doesn't have to be generational, because I paid very close attention to my family and other people that I'm very close to. And the poverty isn't mysterious, when I pay attention. And of course, that's being where I am now as opposed to where I used to be, which means I'm more willing to pay attention to variables, and I am more aware of more variables because I've started educating myself on these things. And so these are things that likely, like many of my family members, past and present, I wouldn't have realized unless I was trying to find information, but now I can look at things, because I was confused for the longest time about like how is my family this broke, and we were broke, just everybody's broke. I mean, there's a few people doing a little better, but very frightening trend for me, and this is just something from a sociological perspective, is that even among a lot of when some Black families make it into upper class, or not upper class, middle class, they end up, by the second or third generation, the family is right back to poverty class. And so this is stuff I've wrestled with. So financial conversations are a passion of mine, because I've had to wrestle with my own poverty and wrestle with my own family's poverty, and had to have some real hard conversations with myself, separate from some dysfunctions, and to get real clear on some things. Yes, I understand there are a lot of things that are beyond my control. There are a lot of things that are absolutely unfair in this world. To be honest, most things are unfair in this world. And to be honest, fair is another word that I have a really hard time with. I'm not going to go down that rabbit trail now, but that's word. So I personally don't expect fair. That's not a thing that I have an expectation of without administration. So if there's not administration that is in charge of governing and administering that fairness, then I don't have that expectation. So sure, there's a bunch of things that I can't control. There are a bunch of things that are unfair. There are a bunch of people who are going to do a bunch of, stupid shit that's going to impact my life in ways that it should not be impacting my life. But I am fucking adjustable and adaptable because I fucking choose to be. And that's what the fuck I do. So let me stop ranting before I start lecturing and shit. But these are ways, like, there are really healthy ways that we can work together, and build each other up, to get stronger in our finances in whatever ways that make sense for us. And that's really the biggest thing, or at least the biggest thing to me when it comes to situations like this, I hate when people try to create standards for other people, you know, and which I've been guilty of. Obviously, as a former pastor, I've been guilty of that. But then even after being a pastor, I was still guilty of that, to the point where I'm like, if I want this, everybody should want this. And if you don't want this, what the fuck are you doing? You're just lazy, man. You're not trying to do this. You know, it's like, no. Everybody has the right to want what they want. Now, the only thing is, if after you go after what you want, and you come back and just be like, well, and I'm confused about what I got, and I'm like, no, you got what you went after, you know? So yeah, man, y'all are getting me. God will make it all fair in the end. Yep. And I'm just like, oh, that's so cute. That is so cute. You know, fairness is like fairness as a construct. If we ever really sat down and had that conversation from a mature place, it would be a very difficult conversation to actually reach a resolution, especially if we're talking about it from a global perspective. It's going to take a level of work that we're not ready for yet. We're not ready for global fairness. We're not ready for that. And when I say we're not ready for it, I mean, we're literally not ready to do the damn work. That's how you know we're not ready. We're not even trying. We're not aiming for it. Because at the end of the day, for us, fair is something that is either natural or spiritual. You know, and it's just like, no, it's neither one of those. It's social. It's a construct. You know, it's something that we are in absolute control over. But we haven't given ourselves the depths of responsibility to really know how to build a framework for what fairness looks like. And not in any type of mature way, because most of the times, and y'all know me, I'm gonna call it like I see it. Y'all may see it differently, but most of the time we're just not even mature enough to have the conversation. We're not mature enough to think, you know, beyond just the things that we like, just things that we think are fair. And, you know, I see this way too much. Hooey. Back to the genie thing. Oh man, that was this episode. Dang, we did do that. That was this episode. The genie. Genie in a Bible. You're a genie in a Bible, baby. He got grounded for getting holes in his feet. That is awesome. That is awesome. I saw a meme, which I don't normally laugh at memes, but it was just like the perfect gift doesn't exist. And then there was a crucify your own Jesus kit, crucify Jesus yourself kit. And I was like, oh, that's hilarious. All right, so chapter 6, let's see if we can get through it. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, when a person sins and acts unfaithfully against the Lord and disavows the rightful claim of his neighbor regarding a deposit or a security entrusted to him, or regarding robbery, or he has extorted from his neighbor, or has found what was lost and lied about it, and sworn falsely, so that he sins regarding any of the things that people do, then it shall be, when he sins and becomes guilty, that he shall restore what he took by robbery, or acquired by extortion, or the deposit which was entrusted to him, or the lost property which he found, or anything about which he swore falsely. He shall make restitution for it in full, and add to it a fifth more. He shall give it to the one to whom it belongs, and on the day he presents his guilt offering. Then he shall bring to the priest his guilt offering to the Lord, a ram. So this is another expensive one, according to your assessment as a guilt offering. All right, so I want to go up here because I could have helped play out on this one, I think, because at least the person who found what was lost and lied about it and sworn falsely. See, this one, I'm going to go ahead and give you the gray area for this one. I'm going to give you the game here. If you found what was lost, all you got to do to not be guilty, I'm giving you the loophole, is don't lie about it. Don't tell nobody. Don't say shit. You know, somebody ask you about it, pretend like God struck your mouth closed. Just don't say shit, and you'll never have to give up your ram. You just got a free lesson from an ex-pastor. This is how you run that game. All right. So now they're going to tell us a little bit about how that offering should look. Did I go up too far? Yeah. And the priest shall make atonement for him before the Lord, and he will be forgiven for any one of the things which he may have done to incur guilt. Man. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, command Aaron and his sons. Oh, Aaron is back. Saying, this is the law for the burnt offering. The burnt offering itself shall remain on the hearth on the altar all night until the morning, and the fire on the altar is to be kept burning on it. I do have a series of stories called Hearth and Isles, which is also in the Memphis universe, but it takes place. Oh, well, it dates back for a long time. I think the last story goes like 500 something common era. But anyway, and so yeah, we got Aaron back, and they're doing some stuff. He's gonna put on his linen robe and his linen undergarment. See, this is where the Mormons get it from. Next to his body, and he shall take up the fatty ashes. So that sentence doesn't make sense to me. Fatty ashes, the imagery, to which the fire reduces the burnt offering on the altar and place them beside the altar. Then he shall take off his garments. He's getting naked. Okay, and he's putting on other garments. And then he's going to carry the fatty ashes outside the camp to a clean place. The fire on the altar shall be kept burning on it. It shall not go out, but the priest shall burn wood on it every morning. He shall lay out the burnt offering on it and offer up in smoke the fat portions of the peace offerings on it. Fire shall be kept burning continually on the altar. It is to not go out. Now, I do want to highlight the subtext of verse 13. Fire shall be kept burning continually on the altar. It is not to go out. The subtext of that is, you motherfuckers should always be having guilt offerings. That's the subtext. If the fire should always be burning on the altar, that means there should always be something to burn, which means you should always be committing some type of sin, so that there could always be some type of economic foundation for the temple. That's how that goes. But again, just to kind of demystify this, that's not very different than why we have to get, gaming licenses, marriage licenses, why we have tickets for jaywalking or speeding. Why that's not very different. Why things that are not financial have financial consequences, because it's just a form of taxation, and that's the expectation. That's why it seems that's why the laws are written the way that they're written. The laws are written to address things that will happen. It's like they sat down and said, how can we get money from these folks? And they said, well, we got to make them feel like they did something wrong to God, and it's like, but we got to take it some type of step further, you see? So it just becomes a taxation thing. And it's like, well, it has to be things that it has to be things that's going to be hard for them not to do. You know how hard it is not to jaywalk? It's really hard not to jaywalk. It's really, really hard. You're looking up there at the pedestrian zone and you're like, but there's no fucking cars here right now. Like, I can just zoom across, and the store I'm trying to go to is right fucking there. If I go up there, I'm going to have to do a whole fucking U. I'm going to have to walk all the way up there and then walk all the way over here and then bring all the way back here. And then when I come out, I'm going to have to do that shit all over again. Quickest point from A to B is a straight fucking line, man. Straight fucking line. But so that's, that's why those things exist. People think, man, people are going to want to fish. Oh, let's tax that shit. Let's make sure they have a license to fish. That gives us economic opportunity. Economic opportunity. All right. So fire's not going out, which means everybody needs to continue to sin. Keep sinning so that we can keep winning. Ooh, slogan of the year. Keep sinning so that we can keep winning. But in this case, it's a financial Ponzi scheme. So maybe not so great. But all right, so verse 14. Oh, man. Lean not into your own understanding, right? Now, this is the law of the grain offering. The sons of Aaron shall present it before the Lord in front of the altar. Then one of them shall lift up from it a handful of fine flour of the grain offering, which we know the fine flour comes from the poor people, the people who couldn't afford the lamb, and then you couldn't even afford the turtle doves. Well, damn, can you at least bring some flour? And it's like negotiating when you're trying to get somebody to bring something for when you're having like a cookout or something like that. And it's like, okay, well, you just bring the chicken. I can't bring the chicken now. That's expensive. Well, what about some greens? I definitely can't bring the greens. But damn, man, can you bring some cornbread? Just bring the plates, okay? Bring the paper plates. That seems like how this shit got walked down. So we know that the flour comes from the people who can't afford lambs, because most preachers don't point out that there are apparently a bunch of poor motherfuckers around this time. There are people who can afford lambs and rams, and there are people who can only afford turtle doves, and there are people who can't even afford turtle doves, which at the end of the day, I'm wondering what them motherfuckers eating. They ain't got lambs, they ain't got turtle doves, all they got is flour. Are they just literally eating, pita bread every damn day? Like, which maybe they got some hummus somewhere. I don't know. Oh, man. 2+ minutes with no traffic. Yes. Holy shit. Okay. So and Aaron and his sons are to eat what is left of it. All right. That's the theme of the night. Be careful when people are eating off of you. You know what I'm saying? Always recognize when someone's eating off of you. And he shall offer it up and smoke on the altar, a soothing aroma as its memorial offering to the Lord. See, the Lord just wants to sniff it. Aaron and his sons get to eat that shit. For the Lord, this is it's like crack for him. More like a bump of coke. He's just getting his line on. So, and Aaron and his sons are to eat what is left of it. Oh, I think I already read that part. So let's go down. It shall not be baked. Is it moving? Why is it not moving? There it is. It shall not be baked with leaven. I have given it as their share from my offerings by fire. It is most holy, like the sin offering and the guilt offering. And this is how this goes. Okay. So this is that stuff that y'all know I'm going to always point out. The way churches do their finances is not necessarily counter to the way the Bible presents it in the Old Testament terms. It's damn near mirrored. The only difference is in modern churches, you don't have to give an offering every time you sin now, though there are people who feel the need to do that. But notice here, the instructions are clear that the priest or whatnot are to get a share from the offerings. But this isn't, and of course, it's something that I've reminded you of. For us, we're reading about something religious. For them, this would not have been them experiencing this as religion. This would have been their political, economic identity. This was the natural politics of that day. So this is no different, right, than when we pay our taxes. The president, Congress folks, and all them other sorry ass motherfuckers get their share from that. And then the rest belongs to the Lord, which is the government, or the people, the USA, the infrastructure, right? And that's not even hidden. It's plainly written as you go through the text. In order not to see that, you have to still be attached to the superstition. And it's like not even a superstition that comes from the Bible. You're still attaching from a very childish place of superstition where you once believed that God wanted the money for him. And that's never how this has been portrayed in scriptures. Even I think it's in it may be the book of Malachi, or it might be Haggai. I don't really give a fuck, but in one of those places, God is getting on to the people about not tithing. And he doesn't say y'all ain't been tithing, so I ain't been able to eat. He doesn't say y'all ain't been tithing, so I don't have money. He explicitly says y'all haven't been tithing, and so the temple is not maintained. It's not taken care of. So the tithing system is not something that was exclusive to religion. It's not a religious concept. And I don't know, it kind of bothers me that people who are supposed to be critical thinkers can't see that was nothing but their tax system. This is their tax system. For them, this was not their religious life. This was their political reality. We read this as religion, but this was not a religion for them or for any other people who incorporated this way around this time. This was their national identity, you know. Oh, man. And so that's what happens here. This is their tax system. All of these laws and offerings are for the sole purpose of generating a type of stream of revenue that can compensate, for lack of better words, the people who are restricted from working on the things that they want to work on because they've been conscripted into working in the service of the Lord. So it's the same thing we do for the military, right? Because they've been conscripted into service, they can't work on their own livelihood. So we're going to give this for them because they're working on the needs of this political engine, right? And of course, the temple itself represents their capital, if you will. You know, this is what they do their business at. So we've, you know, this is just how this goes. Tax more than people that have been taxed 10 times more money than I have. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, I'm one of those people. I don't know. I don't mind it. I don't mind taxes. And when it comes to other people, I don't know what other people are doing or not. So, and that's, I think I hit that earlier. I don't jump onto that bandwagon stuff. And so y'all know that about me. When people start, and I know that's a popular conversation in the secular community, but everybody's saying it, nobody's doing shit about it. And so at that moment, you're just talking heads. You're just saying, this person has more money than me and they're paying less taxes and I want to be mad. And I'm like, what's the utility of that argument? What you gonna do with that? Nothing. So what's the use of being mad about it? Unless you're gonna do something. Like, that's the only type of mad I have any respect for. If you're mad and you're not gonna do shit about it, I don't get it. I'm sorry. Like, and I know there are people who do that. I'm just not one of them. And it's not something that I have any respect for. And I see a lot of it in the secular community. Everybody's bandwagoning on these same ideas that none of them are doing shit about. And I'm like, okay, either get off the bench into the game and do something about it or shut the fuck up. That's me. Like, I'm not saying everybody has to be that way, but that's me. But it's not even just that. And because when I say get in the game, I'm like, everybody's like, my issues are, we have people in our community who can barely, and when I say our community, I'm talking about secular community, who can barely hold their lives together. Because that's how damaging deconstruction can be. You know, that's how socially debilitating this stuff can be. And me, as a person who comes from community organizing, I know the power of community. So, and let's prove it. Let's prove it. When people, regardless of their beliefs, are going through a hard time in damn near any city in this country, the first place they're going to go is to a church. They're not going to an atheist place because we don't have any money. All we have is reasons why we don't have money. Oh, we don't have money because the billionaires have the money. We don't have money because the churches ain't getting taxed. Like that has shit to do with why you're not organizing around the problems that are supposed to be important to you. Waiting for somebody else to solve the problems that are important to you is a fucking stupid ass strategy. If something is important to you, then you need to stop being a fucking mouthpiece and be a part of the solution. And it's too fucking easy to do. It's too fucking easy to do. And I'm not gonna let the secular community just skate off on that shit. No, stop just talking and become a part of the fucking solution. You know? I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all know that shit like that is really my pet peeve. It's that leapfrogging shit. And I get that this is y'all know I have black nationalistic tendencies. This is the same shit I've been telling the black community for years. Well, if they would just do this, how many more 100 years are you going to wait for them to do it? What the fuck? No. What can you do if they never do this shit? If they never make up in their minds to do right by you, are you just gonna stay fucking stuck because they won't do right? You fucking coward. Get some balls and some breast, you know? Shit, I had to throw breast in there because, had to get some balls and some breast. At the same time, maybe, whatever your kink is. But yeah, we've got to stop doing that shit. Everybody's just mouthpieces, but nobody's out here actually doing the work. And it's not just, it's people in our community who are suffering from this shit because all we want to do is come together and talk about people that we don't fucking know. And I'm like, no, what can we be doing to change our lot? What can we be doing to help people within our own community? What can we be doing to make more safe spaces? But it's like all we really have is excuses. Well, we'll never have this because this person has this and because these people are doing this and these people are doing this. Get off the fucking court then. If you're not here to play, get off my fucking court. Don't be on my field if you're not here to play. You know what I'm saying? Like, what type of game if you're playing if you're going to be here? I would be able to win if they would just let me. What the fuck? Sorry. Y'all know me. That coach comes out. Oh, man. I don't think anybody actually knows the answers. And this is my proof. Because nobody who knows, everybody who claims they have an answer, because y'all see it happen on our Sunday sessions a lot. People will always jump in and say, this is what we need to be doing. Everybody needs to be doing this and everything will be fixed. And who knows, who can beat me to it? What's the question I ask? Where are you experimenting with this at? That's the question I'm always going to ask. If someone tells me something will work, if someone tells me this is the answer, my question is, where are you experimenting with this at? You're like, well, I'm not. Okay. Then number one, how are you convinced that this is the answer? Number two, how do you know that this is the answer? And what I mean when I say, how are you convinced? How are you claiming to be convinced that this is the answer when you're not even doing anything to test it? So it's always amazing to me that when it comes to the solutions that we need, we want to be just as superstitious as Christians. It's like, oh, I read a book and somebody said this is the answer, so this must be the answer. If you really believe that, find a group of people and experiment with it. Because that's the only way. Nobody's gonna, that's what y'all notice. I'm very averse to just telling people this is how we should do it. This is how it should be organized. And this will fix it for everybody. If we just do what this other country is doing, then this will fix it. You have no idea how complex humans are, do you? Oh, poor fellas. So no, please don't do that. Don't do that. If you really think something is a solution, then do the right thing and start experimenting with it so you can test your hypothesis. Instead of just being the internet folk who just say things that they read somewhere. Let's not be those people, y'all. It's like I have friends who believe that the government has been taken over by aliens, and shit like that. And they're like, I told you this is, and it's like, that's what that feels like. It just feels like being the person who wants to say something that may be right. But the question I asked them is, so what are you going to do to stop the aliens? Well, there's nothing I can do. Then why the fuck do you care? Like, this is that childish need to just be right about something, as opposed to the adult need to actually make a difference, to make an impact, to have some utility, And that's why we are having this conversation about economics in our next session, on our Sunday sessions, because this is one of the places where I see the secular community run its mouth the most while not doing a fucking thing. Not doing a fucking thing. Chasing the wrong fucking battles. If I hear one more person say, tax that church, what the fuck does that do? What problem does that solve? These fucking token issues, you fucking bandwagoners, man. No. If you're going to stand against something, have a good reason to do so. Have a really good reason to do so. Like, have some utility in this shit. You know, you know what I think would be a more effective thing? Like, if we really want to make something happen, which that's a fruitless thing to do anyway. You can't, that's not something you're going to make happen. Churches are not the only 501c3 nonprofit organizations. So what the fuck? Learn your tax code. But if we're doing this not just to be petty, but if we're doing this because we actually care about people, then a more valid thing to ask for is to require that all churches have certified psychologists and psychiatrists involved. But that's not what it's about. So much in the secular community has become about fucking sensationalism. I'm not here for that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here for that shit. I'm not trying to make, that's why you don't see me railing against anybody. You don't see me pointing out your next villain. This is the next worst person. You're not going to see that shit from me because it has no fucking utility. You know? And it also comes off as scammy to me. You know, it's either going to come off childish or scammy. Those are only two ways I can look at that. You know? But no, we need to do the work. We need to do the work. We need to be focused on what we can do, not what people are not doing. How dare us be experts on what people we don't even fucking know should be doing, but can't figure out what the fuck we should be doing. It's like, nah, if they would be doing this, then I could do this. Fuck you. We have to do better. Like, I don't know why that's such a hard point to convey. That we should care more for the people in our communities than fucking Elon Musk or Trump or Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or anybody else. There are no fucking saviors out here. We should organize ourselves in such a way that we can be the support we need. You know, it's again, coming from a community organizer, that shit is too easy to do. I'm sorry. Ooh. My main concern is not the billionaire tech bros. My main concern is not the government. My main concern is the lazy fucking US Americans who rather talk about shit and not do a damn thing. The government is a reflection of the fucking people, and we have people who rather just spout their fucking opinions all over the internet, but none of them are civically involved. And it's like, all right, these people infiltrated our government because you wasn't fucking a part of it. Like, that's the reality. Like, damn. But that's what I keep saying. We have to get in the game. I'm not, other people in this community will excuse you for stuff like that. I will not. That shit don't slide with me. Unless you're able to tell me, no, this is what I'm absolutely doing. I'm in here, I'm doing this. Anything else is you gossiping. Well, if they would just do this, you don't even know these people. So you don't know what the fuck they've done or not. This is secondhand, third hand, fourth hand, fifth hand, sixth hand information. Wrestling with information that we don't have the ability to verify is a fucking waste of time. But the information you do have the ability to verify is how many people that live in your fucking neighborhood that don't have a place to sleep tonight. And let's ask ourselves how many organizations in the secular community have actually tackled that fucking issue. Let's talk about how many people who are being abused by their parents and don't have anywhere to go. Let's talk about how many troubled children who will have to go through a fucking Christian institution, because those are the only people who are building that shit. Because the secular community just wants to come together, play games, and pick at flat earthers. You know, that's not what this channel is for. We are progressive thinking, people-centric, and life-affirming. The goal is to get to a place where we have healthier people, which can lead to healthier relationships, that can lead to healthier outcomes. I'm not interested in talking about who your newest, latest villain is. I'm not interested in staying up to date on the latest freak of the week. There are real problems out here that we actually can be solving. I can't do shit about who's in the White House. I have no control there. But what I can do, and this is what I'm trying to get everybody's attention on, what I can do is work with people who have like minds to start creating real solutions and real services and real opportunities in the areas that we can. And that shit can cascade until it becomes a catalyst. But it won't happen if we're always distracted by the latest freak of the week. You know? Like this amazes me. Like people get pulled into these conversations, and then they'll be all emotionally engaged and fired up. And then I'll ask at the end, so what's the plan? I don't know. So did you really just want to cry? Is that what the fuck this was? Nah, I'm a little different. I want to help. You know, I want to help, and these are ways that we can help. But we got to get organized. It does sound like preaching. It does. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It does. I even felt it for a minute. I almost tuned up. Almost tuned up a little bit. Yes. Yes. It's just, y'all, like, we have to get off of these bandwagon. We got to get off this bandwagon shit, man. I'm telling you right now, there is just as much misinformation in the secular community as any other community. We are not immune from that shit. And the only way that we can really keep ourselves like on par is to recognize that we are susceptible to biases. We are susceptible to fallacies, and we are susceptible to superstition. We like shortcuts. And when a bunch of people say something, that just equals true for us. And we need to separate ourselves from that. And one of the biggest things is just interrogate the utility of anything you're doing. You know, if I'm engaging in this conversation, what active role can I play in it? You know, which is one of the reasons why in our Sunday conversations, we keep our conversations centered around personal development, personal growth, and community development, because those are things that we can control. But the stronger we become as a community, guess what? The larger our scope of impact and the larger our sphere of influence grows, our sphere of control, which control is illusory at best, but you know what I mean. Man. Yeah. So if it ain't clickbait, that's right. That's right. And that's where it is going. That is where it is going. It's good to know that. But if you know that, don't be subject, to misinformation. Always know what you can't know. And there are certain things that you literally can't know. You're not close enough to the situations to know. So like, I don't have opinions about people I don't know. Literally, I don't. I don't have opinions on Joe Biden. I don't have opinions on Kamala Harris. I don't have opinions on Donald Trump. I don't have opinions on that Vance guy. I know they've all said stuff. I know they've all done stuff. I can speak to things that I don't like about what they've said. I can speak to things that I don't like about what they've done in public that I actually know that they've done. Anything other than that, not only can I not speak to because I have no insight there, I have no utility there. And I did a whole video talking about these things. Like, leapfrogging is what's killing our communities. Someone gets you afraid of something, and then they get you leapfrogged, and you're hyperactive, hyper-focused on this one situation when you could have been reading a book about something that would have actually positively impacted your life. You could have been reading you could have been learning a new study. You could have been working on a new language. You could have been improving a skill. You could have been giving away turkeys. You could have been, toilet tissue was a big thing. You could have been blessing people with toilet tissue. And when I was a kid, I used to go to the library every day. And one of the things I do at the library is steal the toilet tissue when I was leaving because we didn't have any at home. This is the reason why I didn't become secular so young, because there was only churches out there for people like me. There was never a secular community that myself as a young skeptic could have ever strolled into just randomly. And this is the charge that I keep giving to the secular community. If the only time you're meeting is once a year and people got to go to meet, what type of community is that? That's not community. That's a conference. You know what makes the church so effective? The same thing that makes Dollar General so effective. There's one on every fucking corner. So anytime you're curious, you always have an option. I'm saying the areas we're losing because we're not even trying to fucking win. But that's okay, because we're getting some community organizers here. Man. Yeah, it just comes off at whining at the end of the day. And it puts us in, I used to tell my church members this back in the day. If there's a storm coming, don't pay attention to the people who are telling you the storm is coming. Pay attention to the people who are actively building the boat. You know what I'm saying? And you say, because the false dichotomy that gets created is, well, if you're not talking about how bad the storm is, you're not helping. That is so untrue. Because you're talking about it isn't helping. In the world of the news and social media, we need one more person out here making sure people know that Donald Trump is a bad guy. No one's logically coming to those conclusions. You're being emotionally driven. You know what I'm saying? That's how that shit is working. But it's the person who looks up and says, you know what? This country is headed in a dangerous direction. We need to be building safe space. Those are the people you pay attention to. The people who are telling you it's about to get so bad and I'm going to leave the country. Those are not your fucking friends. You know what I'm saying? It's about to be so bad for y'all. I'm getting my passport and I'm getting out of here. Fuck you. You are not my friend. No, the friends are the people who say it's about to get bad. We're about to build some safe space. That's where the help is. That's where the help is. But I think in our conversations for a community, we don't got out of Bible study. I think in our conversations, in our communities, we've come to one of the reasons this is so hard is that there are so many people. See, in the church, it's easy to hijack your worth with God. So even when you feel like you're not capable, the church can make you feel that God is capable through you. And that works really well to get people energized and to do things, to sign up, because it's really small things. Big doors, small hinges. It's really small things that people can do that make these big ass differences. But in the secular community, where people have these same issues that they have in the church, which are ultimately these capacity issues, most people feel that they are horribly underqualified to do anything. Most people feel like they are significantly incapable of doing most things. And this isn't just a contemporary problem. This is probably the greatest flaw of our species, is that we don't learn from our ability to break records. Every time we set a record, we're saying, this is the best we'll ever be able to do. We can't do nothing better than this. And then we break it. And then instead of learning from that, what do? We set another record. Well, this is it. This is the standard. Instead of realizing maybe I'm capable of a lot more than I ever gave myself credit for, and I should just stop trying to put a limit on this shit. Just see how far I can take this journey. That's what that shit is. And so that's why we do the work on Sundays, to have conversations that are about empowering people, helping them see themselves as capable, helping them find their own sense of authenticity, their own sense of autonomy, and their own sense of agency, and giving them that confidence back to determine what life is for them without having to appeal to anybody else's permission or standards. Not having to feel like, no, my life has to look like what Darante thinks life should look like. I got to be hyper productive like him if I'm going to have any value. No, fuck that shit. I'm hyper productive because this is what I've chosen. I find this as the most valuable way to spend my time for the goals that I want to achieve. My goals ain't your goals, you know? But that's the work that we have to do if we really care. You know? That's the work. If you want there to be less, if you want evil people to do less evil things, then you need more good people doing more good things. Yelling at the evil people to stop never works. I don't know how shit went for you in school, but just saying stop rarely ever works. You know, stop it. That shit don't work. If they didn't stop after the first time you said it, you're going to have to change your fucking strategy. You know? And so it's very like illogical to, on one hand, say that someone is evil and does not have the best interest of people, and on the other hand, say this person is the person that has to fix it. That is a bad strategy. And again, this is stuff I told you I've been telling the Black community for years. Waiting for America to fix our problem is the stupidest strategy ever, and that's why we are where the fuck we are. Waiting for the people who caused the fucking problem to fix it is never a good fucking strategy. You know, maybe unless you're at Chick-fil-A, because they'll clean up after themselves. You know? And this is not an endorsement for Chick-fil-A, because some of the people that watch this shit, I have to say stuff like that because we have people who get that childish. All right. So I'm done with my rant. We didn't even get through chapter 6, so we'll pick up there next week. Spoiler alert, it's boring. You know, that's what we'll do. But I do my best not to make it, and that one is pretty long, so we'll definitely hit that one next week. I need to remind myself of that. Ooh, this is going to be interesting. But thank y'all so much for hanging out with me. We actually had a good amount of people on tonight. This amazed me. And I wonder if it's because I was just ranting, which I do every now and then. Man, it's winter. I need to get some chapstick. I know y'all see my lips getting all dry and stuff. Oh, man. But I love y'all so much. I am greatly appreciative for your support. I'm greatly appreciative for your involvement. And yes, while you liking, subscribing, and all that good stuff, it does help me. Yes, it helps me a lot. This channel is monetized. You're helping me get margin in my life. And that's very important for me, just to have some sense of sanity. But beyond that, that's really not what this is for. I do this to build community. You know, so we have a growing Discord. I'd love to invite you to get involved with it. Bridge City is a phenomenal organization, and we're just a year in and we're already global, but we need more people. And I told you, I'm here to win. Let's get as many people as we can so that we can actually start creating some tangible solutions. There are real things that we can do, y'all. And when we do, we're going to shift the envelope, you know? Let's run our own campaign, you know? Let's be our own Project 2025. And then be our own Project 2026, and then be our own Project 2027, because that's the indictment. Why did they have a plan and we didn't? That's the indictment. I'm talking about the secular community. Why Christians organizing about what they want to see, and we're just organizing to talk about flat earthers? We got to do better. The problems that are not being solved are the problems that nobody is working on. Much of us are working on token issues. But in the stuff we're crying about, the stuff we're complaining about, is the stuff we're not believing that we're capable of doing something about. We're being just as superstitious as the Christians are, because we're expecting somebody else is going to solve that problem for us, instead of taking that sense of agency back and say, no, there's something we can do, you know. And I'm always going to be that person. As long as you're tuning into my channel, I'm always going to be more focused on, well, what can we do? What can we do? Because I don't know Elon. I can't call him up and say, hey, stop tripping. I ain't got that type of voice in his life. Maybe one day I will. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll be like, you know, that person that I call people and say, hey, you need to simmer the fuck down. And they be like, all right, man. You know, maybe. I don't know. But until then, the focus is what can we do? You know? And anybody who's really trying to take your focus away from that, they're not helping you. They're either childish or scamish. And either way, I'd be suspect of it. I'd always be side-eye. Anytime somebody come to me, did you hear the latest news? And insert any person that I don't personally know, my mind immediately goes to childish or scamish. Because I'm like, how much the fuck do you not have to do where you can be just so caught up in what's going on in these random strangers' lives? Like, do you have no friends who've been impacted by this shit at all? That you could be doing something to help them? Or is it just fun to talk about? You know? And if it's just fun to talk about, that's fine. But I'm not going to be the one to have those conversations with you. Man. Look, but I can go there too, though. Like I damn sure got some things that I can be childish of. I damn sure. But as we're closing, that's one of the things I absolutely love about our community and the type of conversations we have here is that we get loud, we get emotional, we get into stuff, but this is always a safe place. You know, we're gonna have fun. I talk my talk. I was raised by Samuel L. Jackson, man. So I talk my fucking talk. You gonna get cussed out. You gonna get your ass cussed out up in here, but it's always gonna be love, you know, because I don't believe in magical words. You know, I don't. Oh yeah, we did a whole I don't believe in magical words song earlier, and magical fingers as well. That was fun. Which now I do want to turn that into a musical of some sort. But I appreciate y'all so much. Y'all are absolutely wonderful. These conversations are life-giving for me, and I hope they're doing something for you as well. Yeah, this is a good place to shut her down for the night. Let me get my studio set up. Man, y'all are awesome. We do get so emotional, right? Ain't it shocking what love can do? Yes. But see, and that's what I really love is that I've seen this channel, I've seen the community members of this channel exemplify and demonstrate such a beautiful maturity where we can have these conversations. Because I've watched people go back and forth in the chat a few times, and I get nervous sometimes because like, oh man, I hope they don't get mad at each other because it gets serious. But in this community, we've been managing to maintain a sense of maturity where we can talk about things that we disagree about. We can talk about things that we see differently. And we can talk about things that we feel strongly about without other people feeling, you know, upset, ostracized, or marginalized. And that's beautiful. Because at the end of the day, I tell people, any belief that we're ever going to get to a place where we're all going to agree is a superstitious belief. Any expectation that everybody you meet is going to agree with everything you agree with is superstitious as fuck. And so it's a healthy thing to learn how to talk to people, you know, and how to hear people and how to disagree with people and how to state your case. And just, you know, to remind everybody, it's okay to disagree with me because frankly, I don't really give a fuck. Like I don't like, and I'm saying that in the most loving way that I can. I don't care when people agree with me. I don't give a fuck. Your agreement it has no utility. There's no utility. Unless you agreeing to help me pick up a fucking couch, I don't need your agreement, you know? But so that's why I know sometimes people are afraid to disagree, but we have beautiful, again, our community, we have people who have gotten really comfortable with that. They'll say, I disagree with that. And it's fine. Yes. I don't trust people who agree with me on everything because I know you're lying. There's no way you could agree with me on everything. You know, I'm convincing as fuck. Now, if you say I persuaded you, then sure, okay, yeah, I can be convincing in a motherfucker. But no, you probably won't likely agree with me on everything, and nor should you. That's not the goal. The goal is not to create a situation where we all agree on the same things. The goal is to create a situation where we can work on the things that we do agree about, you know, and that we can have a large enough community where we can have several different things we can work on. So everybody doesn't want to work on solving homelessness. That's fine. That's why we didn't build the solving homelessness community. We built the building community so that the people who join this community that have a passion for homelessness can find each other. And the people who join this community who have a passion for trans rights can find each other. And that the people who join this community who have a passion for food inequalities and food inequity can find each other. And then we can build these strong support systems where all of this is supported and resourced and funded by the community, you know? I got big dreams, big aspirations. I'm ambitious. On the other side of what we're trying to build, I want solutions. I want solutions. You know? Yeah, man. I don't know what they're going to look like because the world is changing so fast, but I've thought about it. You know? We do need non-faith-based foster homes and foster programs and adoption programs. We do need non-faith-based youth detention centers or rehabilitation centers. We do need more non-faith-based substance abuse rehabilitation centers. People need more. You have no idea. Because these churches, and I've said it, I'll give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. They do a good job of meeting needs for people in a crucial times. But they also make a point many times of dehumanizing those people if they're not believers. You know? How long are we as a community just going to sit back and force those people to have to go to churches to get help while screaming that we have a better economic way? We're economically moral. While we're sitting here and choosing not to organize ourselves in a way to solve these problems. But yes, we have the moral high ground. Fuck out of here. If that's not some first world Gilmore Girl shit, I don't know what is. You know, get off the fucking couch and get into the game. And a great way to do that is to join our community on Discord. Well, we'd love to have you a part of our vibrant, growing, loving, all warm and cherry cotton candy community. As you see, we're not all cotton candy, you know. But all right, that's all I have for y'all. I got to stop, or I'm gonna talk. Yes, Infidel called me. You know, recovering opioid addict. I left rooms because I couldn't take the God talk. We need more secular. Like, this is the reality, y'all. I'm not just saying this shit to say it. It's real. It's real. You know, it's real. And those programs are often supported by people just like you and me. All it takes for anything to be done is for people to do it. You know, but we got to believe in ourselves to get there, and we've definitely got to work together. And I definitely got to go because we're over 2 hours at this moment. But I love y'all. Thank you for hanging out with me. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that alert notification bell. Consider, you know, joining, supporting, connecting with this channel, community, or content in any way that makes sense for you. And of course, share this video. This one was a really good one, and you can tell them where they need to stop and watch it. But share this video with someone who you think needs this type of coaching, because that's what this one kind of turned into, right? And I apologize about that. But yeah, share this, and then of course, check out our merch. We have dope merch. We have books and all that stuff. And yes, that part is economics, man. Economics. We are a nonprofit, and yes, everything that you do to support us does go right back into the mission of building community beyond superstition. And so let's watch this baby grow. We started as one dot on a map, and now we are all over the globe. Let's just see how much further we can go. All right. Until next time, y'all, stay progressive, keep rising, be the bridge, and if you can, stay beautiful. Let me go, I'm out of here. No, that's the wrong song. I'm going to change the song. That's not the one. Let's put the right song first. Let's make sure it's right. There it is. Now I'll holler. So until next time, be the bridge.
I was living my life in the servitude of misunderstandings of people I loved. Giving it all, it was never enough. Because of the fall, I could never get up. I moved on from their misunderstandings. I am no longer standing under them. I was drowning, now I swim. 'Cause I found the strength within. I don't need your absent friend. 'Cause I got this, yeah. 'Cause I got this, yeah. 'Cause I got this, yeah.